In this example, we're going to learn how to assign a point control to a corridor. In particular, on the right side of pavement, I've created an alignment, and I called that alignment pavement widening, PAVTWID, with the feature EOP new. And I did that through the horizontal geometry tools. I just drew 3 lines between points with the combination of that and Civil AccuDraw. And then I complexed it together to create this alignment. But I want the corridor now to actually target that, and we have an edge of pavement coming across from our standard template, but I want it to actually follow this edge, and this edge can be anything. I just mimicked a particular widening section here, and we want our corridor to actually follow this line. Now in Select Series 2, we were used to allowing the template to automatically target edges of pavement and to allow that to widen based on what it finds, and that's fine. We could still do that by adding this as a reference to the corridor. The template would still pick it up, but that's not as efficient in terms of modeling and processing speeds, and it's much more efficient to do point controls so that when it looks for something that overrides the point's position, it doesn't have to scan the entire drawing and reference files looking for references, but rather it knows specifically what alignment to look for, and thus much more efficient in terms of the processing. So to add this widening point control to the corridor, it's very simple. All we do is we select our corridor. Now we're going to go down to the point control icon, and we're going to give it a start station. And so what I'm going to do is window in towards the beginning of my alignment and allow that to snap to. So we'll snap to that for our starting station. And then for our ending station, I'm going to move over to the other side. And this can be changed later, by the way. We'll move over to the other side, and we're going to allow that to snap over and accept that. So we're going from 355 to 359. Now we'll give the point control a description, and I'm just going to call this, for simplicity, right edge of pavement. And now we have to pick the point that we want to control. If we had our dynamic cross-section view opened before we kicked off this command, we could graphically pick the point, but since I already know what the point name is, in this particular example it's right concrete top edge of pavement, I'll go ahead and select that, and I can use my down arrow, or I can even choose from the tool settings if I want to the point. So I'll accept that point, and I want to control this horizontally only. And we have options here for linear geometry. We also have the ability to target a feature or a feature in another corridor. In our case, we just have some linear geometry to target. So then we locate that alignment that we're going to target, which is here. And then we have the option to use this as a secondary alignment, yes or no. And what that means is when the cross sections are being cut along here, these template drops, it will turn 90 degrees to this edge, or it'll continue straight through. I'm going to go ahead and allow it to be a secondary alignment. So we'll say yes to that, give it a priority. If we want to offset this alignment, we can, but I'm going to leave those set to 0 and allow our corridor to process. And now what happens is the alignment that we have in here now coincides with the edge of pavement coming across from our modeling of our template, and so now they are in sync. Now if I wanted to make changes to that point control at any time, I can select my corridor and go over to my corridor objects icon, and the corridor objects allows us to have a window into everything that is within our particular corridor. And so you'll see now the corridor information and all of that we have set based on that edge of pavement, and we can make changes here if we wanted to change our offsets or our station ranges, the point we controlled. We can enable it or disable it, and we can even activate or deactivate point control rules if we want to. And so we have all the different options in here with our corridor objects that we can see and modify and change. So that concludes how we add a point control target to a corridor, and is the best practice suggested recommended workflow to modify template points either through these point controls, or another method would be parametric constraints.